would talk about the upgrades to that area, which will help the light fixtures. We have 7B, which is the laundry and dry cleaning bid. And then we have item 7C, which is surplus property, declaring some of the breathing apparatuses from the fire department as surplus property. They are planning on selling probably at a reasonable price to volunteer fire department. I believe you may donate some to CU2, two units to CU for some of their testing that they do. So that's what that is. Then we have appointing Donald Humes to additional 3-year appointment on the building board of adjustment of expiring January 25th. The only business item we have today is the consideration of the zoning ordinance 22-06, which is the rezoning of the 12.4 acres on King's Den from R1 to planning and development. Council moving forward. Again, we have not received any comments on that officially. For different things, but that is the extent of the agenda at 3 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Mattis. Any questions or comments from members of the council about the agenda review? Seeing none and hearing none, that takes us to item number 4 of the work session agenda, which is reports from council members. Today we begin with Councilman at Large, Councilman Webb.
Mayor, I'll wait until 3.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Johnson. Thank you. Councilwoman McKinney.
Wait till 3.
Thank you, Madam. Councilman Estes.
Thanks. A couple announcements. Thank you for Councilman Wade for light RA service. I was trying to think, the Blythe community had a circus that was put on by Seafields, the Salvation Army, and Boys and Girls Clubs. And 620 residents. Family Resource Agency. They registered for kindergarten. They actually, Boys and Girls Club put on a circus, and it didn't get city publicity. It was just in the neighborhood, and it was shocking. And it's just a lot. There's just so much momentum there, and it was so good to see. It was so healthy for our community. Another event that took place, and I really need to thank Chief Gibson and his staff for 65 Roses in the Registrar's office week. It was pitch perfect, start to finish. Lots of police coverage. A lot of money was raised, a lot of awareness for CF. Really appreciate all that she did. And you guys know that the fire department runs against the police department every year for the community shield. This year, Officer Tankersley is no longer with the police department. He is now a fireman. He wanted to win the community shield so bad, he left the police department and just joined the fire department, I found out. I had him ranked with the police department. He said, no, I'm going to the fire department. So apparently it's gotten pretty bad over there on the community shield on who wins what. Yeah, okay. He was smiling awfully big. He was pretty happy. I'm going to miss him at Arnold, to be honest. Hey, I'm going to miss him at Arnold. I really will. We've got a couple thousand visitors coming to town this weekend for Lee Day. The university, this is a big recruitment, and it's not homecoming, but it's kind of like that in different ways. And so, just a heads up for this week. 2 neighborhoods in the 2nd District that are having community meetings. The Historical Cleveland Neighborhood Association is meeting at Arnold, and BOCA, the Blythe Oldfield Community Association, is meeting at Family Resource Agency at Blythe School. Both are at 6 o'clock, and yeah, it's just great to have some activity and the kind of residential neighborhood things going on in the 2nd. I kind of want to give some updates from the Planning Commission. I think that can wait for another time. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. Councilman Castleman.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Mann.
Yeah, I know Robert, sit back here, and I know that Robert's got a history of speeding projects, and one history, a lot of calls, and I know there's a lot involved other than what the city expected when we got into the project. That a lot of, as Joe talked about, a lot of movement on the utilities. But came by there today that didn't look like a lot of movement on the west end of 20th Street. There was like one crew point section of sidewalk. So what do you think on time frame?
Last week, we installed our last piece of stormwater on the whole project over there. So every piece of that's finished. All we've got left is to clean up, finish the curb.
Was that between Parker and 20th, or 20th and Keith?
It was
I mean,
between Harrell and
Parker.
Ocarty.
Or Oakville, yeah.
Yeah, it was at, the last piece went in at Jordan.
George.
Yeah, which it's still torn up and looks like a bomb went off right
Yeah.
now, absolutely. But with that last piece underground, all we do now is clean that section up. The curb and gutter sidewalks going all the way east is done. We've got our paving crew prepping for about 2.5, 3 weeks from now. So my
Okay.
anticipation
Is that gonna be the same crew that did 17?
it is.
Yeah.
They are. We've talked quite a bit about that, so, yes. But I anticipate just a couple more weeks of headaches and it'll look a whole lot different real quick. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I am. I think we all are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Councilman Hughes.
Yes, sir. Just quickly, I appreciated Matty coming today and giving such a good report. An excellent representative from the Fifth District.
Thank you.
And so glad, Joe, that that's off the ground, the youth council. And I've been hearing good reports about their meeting and how much excitement is there through the youth. And I think it's long overdue. But I look at these young people out here today, all decked out, nice ties and bow ties and nice uniforms, and we're happy to have you also. I had an opportunity Friday night to attend the Life Bridges annual meeting, and it was well attended, and we had somewhat of a fundraiser. We had an auction there, and Life Bridges is the 4th or 5th largest employer in Cleveland, Tennessee. I didn't realize they have 450 employees, and they have a transportation fleet of 120 different vehicles. They're a major player in Cleveland, Tennessee. And it was such a nice meeting. They had some of their clients there participating, and some of those who have really done well and accomplished some goals, especially in the workplace. And so I wanted to make sure that the city was aware, the leadership of the city aware of how well they're doing. And they're such a large player in our area. The CEO is Dinah Jackson. Dinah Jackson is doing an excellent job, and she's been there for, well, not a CEO, but she's been there for 36 years. So she put all this program together. It was so nice and so well represented by a large number of people from the state to the local and to the clients. So I wanted to share that today with the city council. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Mrs., could you tell me how many participants in this CF 65?
So we had over 500 registered for the run. We had just under that amount for the walk. It was sometimes it's hard to gauge how many hanger-oners, family and supporters come out. Some people don't ever register, but it was substantial.
Well, I just want to make a comment. I followed up the race as an officiant at a wedding downtown this weekend, and so I knew that we had 1,000 people. I knew that the Cleveland Police, Cleveland Fire, all Public Works, everyone was involved. And by about 11 or 12 in the afternoon, it was as if it had never taken place. The streets were clear, the signs were gone. It just was an amazing transformation from a very large event downtown to what was getting back to normal almost immediately.
Yeah, at 11:15 I drove it as well. I drove the whole route. And for all that to happen so fast in like a 45-minute period, it takes a lot of prep on the police early in the morning, and they were out, and it's just, we're fortunate, our city is fortunate to have that.
I did want to just take a quick minute and say it was a great event. I drove by afterwards. We had nervous brides and grooms. The streets were closed and things were going to be impeding their wedding. Zero. It was like the hand of God came down. Everything was gone. And then the only other thing, following up on Councilman Estes, people getting out at community meetings. I've been involved in a few community meetings. Mr. Ronell, I don't need an answer right now, but at North Lee Highway, in Mr. Hughes' district, just before Tasso Road, there are 3 road work ahead signs, 1,500, 1,000, and then road work, of which there seems to be no work happening. And many of the neighbors are asking why the signs are still there. And I don't need an answer right now, but one of them seems to be an obstruction visually, turning left onto North Lee Highway. And so a number of the neighbors are asking, if there's no road work, why do we then need road work signs? All right.
I failed to mention something. I want to go back just for a moment. I left out that Ken Webb is a part of that board of Life Bridges. And I just leaned back and looked over and I said, why didn't I mention that? So I want to say Ken is a part of that board of a growing entity in our community that a lot of people don't realize what all they're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. And I would also add that we have 40 different housing units in the community for the folks that we serve at Life Bridges. And I'll put in a little plug if I could at this time. We have about 70 openings. So if you or someone you know is interested in working with an organization like that, please contact the Life Bridges office, because maintaining the total number of employees that we need has been a challenge, particularly during the pandemic.
Good information. Mr. Fivisher.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for my second shot. I was remiss that I didn't, we had this great class of students to come in and do a presentation, and I think you nailed it. We do have our solid waste contract that will come up, I think, end of '23, Tommy? So we will start our bidding processes, because you probably have to bid those about a year out in advance, because you don't know, and they may have to do a massive changeover. So that's coming up sooner than what we think. It might even be probably this summer or fall, but that's something that we look at. I think that, we did our survey in the community, and there was a lot of support for recycling. There's no question about that. And I think that, it just depends on the markets. This is a hard time to evaluate the recycling markets with the world's commerce in flux. Hopefully some of that can get worked out, and that rebounds so that there's better commodity, single stream opportunities for recycling. We will absolutely put something in our next agreement that will give at least the council an idea on what a program could look like and what those costs are. I've done recycling contracts that that if you get it at the right time, that they actually pay you in the contract to pick up the recycling, and those are the good old days, and those are not today's days. There are cost components with that, but I think my suggestion to you have representatives for the Cleveland Youth Council at TCPS. Is anyone here part of that? Yeah, there you go. I would suggest that you come and do it. We have a meeting on April 5th at 7 o'clock in this room, that if you wanted to come and maybe make that an issue for the Cleveland Youth Council to look at and do some research on as far as advocacy for that. I think that's another opportunity. I think there'll be an intriguing conversation. Sounds like you've done some work and research and all that. So I think that would be another opportunity, since you already have representatives that will be at the meeting. So
April 5th at 7 p.m.?
April 5th at 7 p.m. in this room. So anyway, and the council, you are certainly welcome to attend. We usually have about 25 students that are here, and everyone is welcome to come. And what's really amazing about it is they run their whole meetings. Corey is their contact person, but we don't say a word during the whole meeting. Is they run it from start to finish. They come up with the agenda, and they work at it. It's not, we're not spoon feeding them or trying to run the group. It's really a body that's organized and working. So we appreciate that, and certainly anyone is welcome to come and check that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Primus. Any other questions or comments from the council? Takes us to item number 5, which is announcements. We had none at the 1 o'clock, which takes us to item number 6, which is adjournment. We're adjourned until 3 o'clock. Sorry, I missed one. Scheduled to be there. My brother-in-law got married, and we went to Bishop and family.
I thought I saw you there.
It was awesome.